Good morning, good morning, good morning. How everybody doing? How everybody doing? This is Coffee and Sports in the Morning, and I got my boy with me, Mo Better, this morning. Great playoffs this weekend. You know, we got some ugly, we got some really good. But how you doing this morning, Mo?
I'm doing good. I'm on a high, coach. Just watching some great games last night. You have to admit, the game of the night to me was probably Lakers versus Phoenix, but I enjoyed all the games. Maybe not Denver, Minnesota so much because there is such thing as a mercy rule. But other than that, I enjoyed all the other games.
Yep. It is such thing as a mercy rule. And I didn't want to keep watching. I didn't want to keep watching that. Minnesota had no fight in that third quarter or that fourth quarter. So no sense of keeping that stream going at all last night. So that one thing that Desmond got over Freddie, at least he got his first mercy rule of the network. So other than that, we're going to recap the NBA playoffs. We're going to go through the key injuries, which is the best series and stuff like that. But other than that, man, so if y'all don't know, man, we got throughout the whole playoffs. Right now, we gonna recap the playoff scenario of what went down. If you guys don't really know in this playoff. So we got the Brooklyn Nets versus the Philadelphia 76ers. The Brooklyn Nets pounded the Philadelphia 76ers. The Brooklyn Nets got pounded by the Sixers. The Sixers, the game was close for a little bit short period of time. The Sixers pulled off. The Sixers made 21 threes in that game. They were 21 43, so they were hot the whole game. They were 16 for 16 from the free throw line as well. They had 32 assists. Sixers was moving the ball. The Brooklyn Nets had 20 turnovers in the game. You're not going to beat anybody with 20 turnovers. And then also points in the paint, the Sixers dominated. Mo, what you think about that game on Saturday?
Look, the Sixers just were the more efficient team. I thought the Nets played well. They had a strategy. They wanted to run. They wanted to make the pace fast. And I agree with that pace. You want to run Joel Embiid. You want to run James Harden, Tobias Harris. Those guys don't want to play fast. The Sixers are a walk-it-up team. And early in the game, that strategy worked. To the Sixers' credit, James Harden was on fire. If he's going to shoot that well from three throughout the series, it's going to be a 4-game series. It's going to be a short series because so much is relied upon offensively from Mikal Bridges with the Nets that if he doesn't get more help from a Spencer Dinwiddie or a Cam Johnson, more shooting from a Seth Curry, there's no way they're going to be able to maintain pace with the Sixers because the Sixers have a cheat code. Even on a bad possession, they can go to Joel Embiid.
Yep, definitely. They was hot this whole game, man. They were, like I said, they were 21 or 41 from three. They were really hot this whole game. They had it going this whole game too. Again, everybody shot lights out. Everybody shot lights out in this game for the 76ers. Tobias Harris even had 21 points. He was 3 from the three. James Harden had 7 threes in this game. Like I say, man, they were hot from three. So
they were. Hey, Coach, let me ask you one thing.
Go ahead.
When you saw the way Harden shot, if you were the Nets, would you make him more of a driver than a shooter? Because when he drove to the basket, he couldn't finish. He's not the finisher he used to be at the basket. Like I would I would jump on his left hand and make him drive. Like he just can't finish the way he used to. If he's going to shoot that well, I'd rather him go to the basket.
Yo, but I don't expect them to shoot that well every game. And then if he started driving, get to one of those moments when he beat you 1-on-1 off the dribble and get to the free throw line, that's going to be troubling a lot if he gets to the free throw line and find the basket and find it and get in the rhythm of the basket. So if he's going to shoot those tough little step backs, I'll allow him. I will, as long as you put a hand in his face. If you put a contest in his face, that then he won't be making that every time. If you allow him to become a driver and going to beat you off the dribble like that, and he get to the free throw line and he get a feeling of the ball going in, that could be trouble right there. So if he's gonna keep, I'd rather him keep shooting that tough step back. He's not gonna make that every single night.
That's a great point, Coach.
Yeah, he's not gonna go 7-13 every night. And I'll put
those are contested shots.
I'll put somebody on him that's really long. That's really long. I'll put somebody on him, put a solid defender on him that can have a good contest too to take that out. But if he gets to that free throw line and he goes driving to that basket, and especially when he's struggling and he gets a feel of that ball going in, that's how I shoot it. That's the quickest way for a shooter to get really hot right there. So
this is true.
We on the Brooklyn Nets side right here. You got Cam Johnson with 18 points. You got Mikal Bridges with 30 points. So, and you got Curry with 10 points. So right now you only got 3 people in double figures. It's not going to get it done if you're going to beat the Sixers. You need other guys to step up. Mo, what you think about the next side?
I think that's dead on. They have to play faster to get the other guys involved who can't really create their shots. So you have Dinwiddie who can create. You've got Bridges who can create off the dribble. But really, on that team, those are the constant or consistent creators you have. So they have to play fast to get a guy like Claxton layups, easy opportunities, to get Joe Harris and Seth Curry open looks. I know what game 1 went like, but you made an excellent point. If James Harden is going to beat me taking contested step backs, then I'm going to get beat. That's an excellent point. I'll say this. I know how game 1 went. I'm still going to hold to with my pick. I think the Sixers win the series. But I still think the Nets make this a series. I don't think they will sweep them because I think that Brooklyn can make the adjustments. You don't have to stop Embiid. You just have to make James Harden less efficient. And again, if he's going to shoot that way from 3 with contested shots, you're going home anyway.
Yep. So again, that's the recap of the Brooklyn Nets series and the Sixers. They play game 2 tonight. Let's see what adjustments that Jacque Vaughn is going to have. So we go to the very next game, man. This game was an ass whooping from really the start. I know the score indicated it looked close and they lost by 13, but the game was, if you looked at, and we all actually watched the game. I'm pretty much sure we paid attention to the game. The game was an ass whooping from start, pretty much to finish. The game was over with at halftime, pretty much. The game was over with at halftime. Boston was up by 30 at halftime. So it don't look like the way Atlanta played. They don't look like they have a shot in this series too much the way they played in that game 1. So game 1, they won 112 to 99. They were dominant on the defensive side as always. They had 58 rebounds, 25 assists. They were moving the ball pretty well. Points off turnovers. They had 19 points off the turnovers from the Atlanta Hawks. And the Atlanta Hawks also, they took care of the ball pretty well. They had 11 turnovers, but the problem is Boston scored 19 points off those turnovers. Boston made 13 threes, and you already know the Hawks made 5 threes. You're not gonna beat them if you make 5 threes. Pretty much it was a dominant game. Pretty much a dominant game from start to finish. And we got your boy Trae Young, 5 for 18. Ouch, that's not gonna get it done. Versus the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics play the best team defense. DeJounte Murray, 24 points in this game, 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. What you think about the Atlanta side, Mo?
If they're going to make this a series, they're going to need a more efficient Trae Young. And he's going to have to find a way to get the ball to other people that can get buckets. Give John Collins more than 10 shots a game. Like, involve the others and give yourself a chance to win. Now, to be fair, you said it. Boston, when they lock in, they're in lockstep with each other. Like, they're the best team defense in the NBA, and they're versatile. They can switch everything. Tatum's a great defender. Brown's a great defender. You got Marcus Smart, not to mention what Brogdon can do. Derek White, I think, is going to make one of the all NBA defensive teams, not to mention Robert Williams. Like, this team not only can beat you offensively, but they can get stops, possession after possession. I don't think Atlanta's going to make this a series. Maybe they can get a pride game and lose in 5. But if Boston's locked in and they're on a mission to get back to the finals, this is over no later than 5 games.
Yep. Yep. Especially if they can't shoot when they get those opportunities, when they get open opportunities. Like I say, Boston, to me, I think they play the best team defense out of anybody in the playoffs. When they locked in, it can be tough to score up on these guys. It can be tough to really score up on these guys. And when they're locked on defense, we already know how good Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is. And which is, we know Jason Tatum had 25 in this game. Derek White, the X factor, 24 points for Derek White, 4 of 7 from the 3. And you had Jaylen Brown, who had 29 points. Malcolm Brogdon, who's a finalist for the 6-man award. How about Malcolm Brogdon, 6 for 6 from the field? Robert Williams, that's Robert Williams. Robert Williams, 6 for 6 from the field, 12 points, a big piece of that Celtics defense. Malcolm Brogdon struggled, but he gave you some great defense. What you think about the Boston side, Mo?
They're just so versatile. I believe they're the deepest team in the NBA because Tatum can have an off night, and Brown, Brogdon, White, others can pick up the slack. They've got that kind. Derek White, if you had a starting backcourt of Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon, that would be a nice backcourt. That's how deep the Boston Celtics are. And both the Williamses impact you defensively. Al Horford is one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. Never mind for a big man, for anybody, for a player. They're that versatile. They're committed. This is only going to be a series if Boston gets lackadaisical, if they get comfortable. If they come in with the same intensity as they did in game 1, then this is going to be over in 4.
Yep, this don't look like it'll be much of a series if they keep doing what they're doing. So we got a pretty good game right here. We got a pretty good game, that I covered pretty much. The New York Knicks 101-97 over the Cleveland Cavaliers, pretty much a dog fight. You had Julius Randle struggling from the field, 7 of 20 from the field. But guess what? Y'all know what time it was at the end. At the end, down the stretch, it was Jalen Brunson time. He was doing the Dame time, made 2 clutch shots at the end of the game. Clutch layup off the backboard, 27 points for Jalen Brunson. RJ Barrett, need to get going, sir. You look like you took that money. You robbed the New York Knicks for right now. Need to get going in the playoffs, 2 for 12. Not going to get it done in game 2. Josh Hart, man. Josh Hart played up out of his damn mind in this game. He made 2 clutch threes in this game and a clutch fadeaway to keep them afloat. But you got a lot of guys struggling. But it seemed like Randall's 19. You got Jalen Brunson 27 and Josh Hart 17 was enough to put them through. And plus, they played good defense on the Cavaliers. So, Mo, what you think about the Knicks side?
So I think what goes underrated is they won this game, and RJ Barrett was horrible. I think he only made 2 shots. Emmanuel quickly didn't shoot well. Like, they won this game, and both of those guys struggled from the field. Julius Randle had a decent stat line, but his actual efficiency was awful, and he turned the ball over too much. As I watched the game, I thought Julius Randle, and he does this at times, he does too much.
Yeah.
Their best player, in my opinion, he might be the star, but their best player is Jalen Brunson. I've said that before.
Yeah.
I said coming into this series, the most explosive player in this series, no question, is Donovan Mitchell. He's the one guy in this series, it wouldn't surprise you if he dropped 50. He's that explosive, that athletic, can score at all 3 levels. But I think the most consistent player, the guy that just controls the game, is Jalen Brunson. For Cleveland to get back into this and make this a series, they're going to need more than Donovan Mitchell. Again, and it's kind of similar to the Philly thing, Coach. Donovan Mitchell went off in the 4th quarter, but you saw those shots. Those guys were hanging all over. If he's going to make shots like that, those tough step backs, if you're a defender, you'll live with that.
You'll live with that.
Sometimes the offense is just better than great defense, but they've got to get Darius Garland involved. Darius Garland, I think they said he took no shots in the 4th quarter.
He took no shots in the 4th quarter.
He's your second leading scorer. and another guy that can create off the dribble. He's got a bag. You have to involve him in the game. And your two bigs, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, with their length, their athleticism, their ability to block shots or alter shots, crash the boards, they've got to be more physical. I thought the Knicks out physical their bigs. I thought Evan Mobley, and he's one of my favorite young guys, but he looks soft. Him and Jared Allen both look soft that game. If they're going to let Julius Randle and Mitchell bully them inside the paint, this is going to be a short series.
Yep. Like I said again, most of the shots that Donovan Mitchell was taking, they were defending well, but again, that's just how Donovan Mitchell is, man. When you underestimate that dude coming into the playoffs, that dude playoff resume is pretty solid. It's not solid in the win column, but the dude can go crazy. The dude can go crazy. He went crazy in the fourth quarter. Like you say, Garland should have got more shots, and he had an efficient game. Garland out of Garland and Allen and J.D. Osman off of the bench, those guys were the only three to have an efficient game. So if you could have went to Garland a little bit more, Garland could have put you over along with Donovan Mitchell did. But Evan Mobley, 4 for 13, that's only 8 points. You gotta get it done, man. You gotta get the job done, man. That's not good enough for a type of guy your talent. Jared Allen was really good, but he needs to get more physical. And the rebounding edge, man, like I say, the Knicks stuck with those guys. And part of the rebounding edge, the Knicks stuck with them pretty much. Like I say, the Knicks out-rebounded them. 51 to 31, what you were saying, Mo, they was out. They were more physical on the glass, and Cleveland got to be more physical, man. And also the Knicks, both teams was pretty sloppy in the game. Both teams had turnovers, had pretty much some turnovers as well. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen in game 2. So
you pointed out something really good too, Coach. That Donovan Mitchell is just one of those guys that when he gets it going, unguardable. Unguardable. I mean, I don't care who you put on him. I thought what countered what he did was when they made a little bit of a run, they had guys, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, guys like Josh Hart, you brought it up early, Coach, they just make winning plays. If it's not a rebound or he takes a charge or he gets a steal or a big three, like Josh Hart is that kind of guy that puts his body on the line for his team to win. Those are the kind of guys that help stars win titles. I love when the Knicks made that move because Josh Hart is a winner.
Yep. They got to just make a winning play, man. They got to just make winning plays. Man, hustles all over the place. The man never stops playing basketball. So we got this game of the night right here. It was the game of the night. Everybody know this game. Sacramento hasn't won a playoff game in 17 years because they haven't been in the playoffs in a while during that time span. But they did end up beating the Golden State Warriors 126 to 123. All I look at, they did out-rebound the Golden State Warriors because they're bigger than the Golden State Warriors. Golden State Warriors moved the ball around really, really well, 31 assists. But Kings only had 18. It wasn't that much ball movement. But again, hey, the way I look at it, the Kings just won a track meet. They just outscored the Golden State Warriors. The Kings had second chance offensive rebounds. They had 17 second chance points too. They gave them a lot of possessions as well. They also forced 15 turnovers from the Golden State Warriors. Some of those passes were lazy for Golden State. They outscored them 60 points in the paint. They put 60 points in the paint on them. And again, here we go. We got Sabonis with 12 and 16. He didn't shoot well from the field, but his defense was great. His defense mattered in this game. Didn't shoot well from the field, but his defense was great in this game. Harrison Barnes knocked down a big three towards the end of the game. Keegan Murray struggled. De'Aaron Fox was just a grown man out there, a man amongst boys out there that night. 38 points. He had 38 points, 5 assists. Trey Lyles was big in this game, 16 points. Malik Monk, 32 points for Malik Monk. They had no idea how to really stop Malik Monk at all in this game. Alex Len come off the bench, give him some good minutes. So, Mo, what you think about this? What you think about the Kings side?
I think if this is going to be a track meet, a back and forth game, it actually favors the Kings to win the series. Look, Sabonis didn't shoot well. You made a great point. He only had 12 points, but he was big on the boards, defense on the offensive boards and the defensive boards. He found different ways to help his team win. I'll give Draymond Green credit. What he and Kevin Looney did when they guarded Sabonis was they know where his power is. They took his legs away. They got up under his legs, and he couldn't finish as well at the basket. But when you watch De'Aaron Fox, most players got a quick first step. He's got a quick first, second, and third step. And it's a blur. He gets around you, and then he blows by the next man. His ability to stop and raise up, and it's a mid-range jump shot. Most people shoot the mid-range from about 15 feet away. He's so quick. When he stops and pulls up, it's about a 10-foot jump shot, and it's money. You can book it. There were times, Coach, when I didn't know if it was De'Aaron Fox or if it was Malik Monk attacking the basket. Like, they almost look similar the way they were blown by the Warriors defenders. Like, Andrew Wiggins, I know he just got back, so he's going to be rusty, not going to really have his basketball legs. Defensively, though, he's their best defender, and Malik Monk just shredded him. I mean, he just kept blowing. And that's not all on Wiggins, because nobody could guard Monk. Nobody could guard Fox. If those two guys are going to play at that kind of level, Golden State's in trouble. I mean, Golden State did come back. They hung tough. They were there, but it seemed like every big shot De'Aaron Fox made, every play, it was him or Malik Monk. It was an exciting game. And if you're an NBA fan, you had to be kind of glad just for the Kings and their fan base. That was great for them. It's been a long time since not only them being in the playoffs, but them getting a playoff victory. That was big.
Yeah, that was really big, man. That was really big. They just like I said, they just won a track meet. And like I said again, the Warriors didn't play all that bad. They played bad on defense. You give up 126 points. You couldn't stop a nosebleed up on that one. But again, they got out rebounded. They did get out rebounded. Because they were pretty much small. They play a lot of small ball with Draymond Green. Kevon Looney did his best. Him and Draymond Green did their best against Sabonis. But wasn't enough to keep him off the floor again. He dominated on the defensive glass. Seemed a lot of lazy turnovers by the Golden State Warriors. You don't want those lazy turnovers, those behind the back lazy passes. A lot of terrible shot selection, and the one shot that they had a chance to have. Andrew Wiggins didn't knock it down, but he did have a solid game in this game. 17 points, 1 of 8 from 3. I know he hasn't played in a while, so you can expect that, but able to have 17 points, that's pretty nice. You have Gary Payton Jr., a big impact in this game as well. Curry with 30 points in the game, and you had Klay Thompson. Mo, what the Warriors got to do to win game 2 and going forward in this series?
I think they just have to be more impactful on the defensive end of the ball. Their offense is going to come around. When you have shooters like Klay and Steph, a guy like Poole who can create off the dribble, Wiggins actually for the season is shooting about 39% from 3. He's not going to go 1 for 8 from 3 over and over again as this series progresses. But if they're going to win and advance, if they're going to go on any kind of deep playoff run, they've got to shore up that defense. Like, it's not just they're getting beat off the dribble in space on the perimeter. They're getting shredded in the paint too as well. They've got to find a way. When they're at their best, their defense, their team defense, when they're at their best, it looks similar to Boston. When everybody's lockstep, they're switching in and out, the helpers being helped, they're rotating, they're recovering. When they're playing defense, the Golden State Warriors are a championship contender. But if this is the way they're going to look defensively the rest of this series, they're not getting out the first round.
Yes, indeed. And we go over to yesterday's games. I did 3 out of the 4 games. Did 3 out of the 4 games yesterday. In the first game of the day, took an ass kicking happened in the fourth quarter. Ja Morant, we got to see the status on his wrist. His wrist didn't look good when he came down on it, but the Lakers were dominant in the fourth quarter due to Anthony Davis 7 blocks. Memphis gave up in the fourth quarter. Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bain, Dillon Brooks started jacking up shots, and nobody wasn't playing any more defense after the Lakers pretty much got up by 10 points. So the Lakers kind of snatched their heart up out their chest right up out of that pretty much. So as a coach right there, you don't like that when your team shows some stability to give up and quit when they're down, didn't show any type of fight after that. But again, We already know Jared Vanderbilt not going to score too much, but he's going to make an impact on the defensive side, so you don't expect him to score. D'Lo had a pretty better game, man. He had 19 points. Austin Reeves had 10 straight points, 10 points in a row down the stretch, man. That dude, Lakers must re-sign him, make an effort to bring him back. Hachimura, unstoppable the whole ball game, 5 for 6 from the three-point line. Anthony Davis, 22 and 12, 7 blocks. LeBron James, 21 points, 11 assists, didn't have to do too much at all. He got a lot of contribution for his teammates, and also Dennis Schroeder didn't have to do too much. He only had 7 points, but he's going to give you all he's got on the defensive side. The Lakers out-rebounded the Grizzlies by 11 in this game. They had 10 offensive rebounds. The Lakers had 25 assists, which means everybody was touching the ball. The ball was going from one hand to another hand. That's what that means right there. And they also made 16 threes, shot 43%. That's pretty good when you can shoot. Mo, tell me about your Lakers side.
I think you just called it, Coach. There was a point where they got stagnant, but most of the game, the ball moved. When the ball moved and there's player and ball movement, that's when you can be effective. That's when you can find open shots for everybody. I thought the fact that LeBron throughout the game just kind of paced himself. He didn't need to take over. They were moving the ball, finding the wide open guys. Like, look, Rui Hachimura is not likely to score 28 points again in this series.
Yep.
I mean, he played well, and he's a good player. But when he goes for 28 and he looks like the second coming of Jesus Shuttlesworth, it's gonna be a long night. If you're a Memphis fan, it's gonna be a long night. The man wasn't missing. At one point, he did something he's not known for doing. He pump faked, then he drove to the basket and dunked on Jaren Jackson Jr. I'd never seen him do anything like that. Like, he was in his ultimate bag. So I think he's gonna play well in the series. But if you're a Laker fan, do not look for another 28-point game too soon. The guy you can count on consistently, Austin Reeves, has just earned his spot into that rotation. And when they go to him late in the game, possession after possession, and he responds and he answers the bell and gets buckets, Austin Reeves is going to get a bag this offseason. He's going to get a contract. Like, they can't lose this dude. He's a valuable player on both ends of the floor. He's a solid defender, but he's a shot maker and a shot creator. I like the way LeBron and AD play defense. I thought this game was the best defensively in terms of team defense that I've seen LeBron play in quite some time. Like, he was coming over from the weak side. He was taking charges. He was on the board strong. Like, you can play great defense, but if you don't get that rebound, if you don't end that possession, you can find yourself in trouble. The Lakers were excellent defensively late in the game. And I thought they had a concerted plan that when Morant went down, they were like, we know who we want to leave open. They had a plan, and Dylan Brooks wasn't open by accident. That was by design. They're going to live with somebody like Dylan Brooks being a shot maker late in games. He's capable, but he's streaky at best. You and I, you watched the game, you called the game. If John Morant is not going to play the next game, let's hope that he's going to play again in this series. But if he's not going to play the next game, they're going to need a team effort. They're going to need Desmond Bane to give them 25. They're going to need Jackson to give them another 30-point game. They're going to need Dylan Brooks to be more efficient. Like, this is going to be all hands on deck. You cannot go down 2-0 in a 7-game series, especially if the first 2 games are at home. You can't go down 2-0. So John Morant's health, first of all, his health is important in terms of his team. When I saw his post-game interview, I started thinking about his mental health. He seemed down. He started talking about using words like, I'm numb to things. So what I would say to the Memphis Grizzlies organization and to John Morant, basketball second. Get your head right, young king. Maybe you came back too early and no one knew the signs. But if you're feeling like you're numb to things, then you need to put basketball to the side and be with the people that care most about you and have your best interests at heart.
Definitely. Memphis Grizzlies, like we just basically broke it all out. For us, Jaren Jackson Jr., the only one pretty much showed up, 31 points, seem like he's going to be a clear-cut defensive player of the year. We got Dylan Brooks, 15 points, but only 2 for 9 from the three. It was strategized that he was left wide open and he couldn't make the Lakers pay. Desmond Bane even struggled. He's a high average shooter as well. They got to get more from Luke Kennard coming off the bench, 7.26 minutes. I need more than that from Luke Kennard. And you also had Adama had 28 points off of the bench. So we're going to see what the Memphis Grizzlies does in game number 2 right here. But again, we go to the next game, and we said this plenty of times, Mo, that the Miami Heat is built for a playoff, built in the playoff. They play in the playoffs. We can talk about the season they had, up and down season, but when they get in the playoffs, this team is a different team, especially when you talk to someone like Jimmy Butler. When you got to be prepared to someone like Jimmy Butler now. Tyler Hero will be out with a broken hand.
Man,
it seems like he will be out. That hurts him a lot. But we don't know the status on Giannis. And we don't know the status on Giannis either because he went out early in the game too. But other than that, before Giannis was going out, Miami Heat was still taking control of the game. They were still in control of the game a little bit. Again, they played some solid defense at the end, at the early in the game. The Milwaukee Bucks had 13 turnovers, which is not too bad, but it's a double figures turnovers. And the Miami Heat had 32 of damn assists. They moved the ball a lot. They were hot from three. They were 15 to 25, 60% from three. They got to the free throw line 21 times. Milwaukee got to the free throw line 22 times. So pretty much an even game. Can't say the referees did anything. That's an even matchup right there. Fast break points, Miami Heat 14 points off turnovers, fast break points, 20 points off turnovers for Miami Heat. So they scored 20 points off Milwaukee turnovers, and they also ate up the paint, 62 points in the paint. 62 points in the paint. They ate up the paint pretty much. Jimmy Butler, 35 points, 11 assists in this game. Also being a playmaker, 5 rebounds. Bam, all around, 22 points, 22.7 and 9. Gabe Vincent, 4 for 5 from 3, 15 points. Tyler Hero had 12 before he went out. Matt Strus had 8 points. Kyle Lowry, 23 points, 18 points, 4 for 7. So, and you got Caleb Martin, 15 points. A lot of guys stepping up for the Miami Heat. Mo, what you think about the dub for Miami?
Coach, I think it's simple. When a team shoots 60% from 3 and almost 60% from 2, they're beyond on fire. So that was great offense by Miami, but that's out of character for them because they were one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league.
Yep.
I mean, I agree. We both agree they're built for the playoffs, but this game right here, that really wasn't even their identity. The only thing that Jimmy Butler didn't do well, is he took 1 3 and he missed it. Everything else, everything else, he was the best player on the floor. It wasn't even close. 60%. That's great shooting, great ball movement by the Heat. That's also weak defense by the. I thought the Bucks at some point, you saw it, they got a little quit in them. That's not who they normally are. Maybe they got a little worn down, maybe deflated because when your best player goes out, it can deflate you. To be fair, though, they were losing before he went out. Miami was out playing him when he was in the game. Like they were giving it to the Bucks as soon as the opening tip. And I'm gonna say this: I hope Giannis can come back. I hope he can be 100%. But even if he is 100%, they got to have the best version of him, of Drew Holiday. Drew didn't have a good shooting game, but he had a good floor game. 16 points, 16 assists. They're going to need Drew Holiday to be more impactful like he normally is defensively. You can't stop Jimmy Butler, Drew, but maybe you can make things tougher, get into his legs, do something other than watch him play. Because Jimmy Butler blew by everybody.
Yep.
We said this. Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, he's a superstar.
Yeah.
In the regular season, he's an all-star. In the playoffs, he's a superstar.
Yep.
I think this series is going to be a 6 or 7 game series. And if Giannis is out game 2, Milwaukee is very much in the same danger as Memphis is. You go down 2-0 and those 2 games are at your home against the Miami Heat, you're in trouble.
Yep. And now, all of a sudden, we know Tyler Hero is a big loss, but if Giannis is going to be out, That's an even series.
Oh, yeah.
That turns into an even series matchup right there. And that may favor more Miami than the
Right?
Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis out.
Coach, doesn't that so that I mean, when we're talking about the better players, if neither one of them play again, we know Hero's out, but if Giannis can't play, if they say, well, he got to be out the next 4 games or whatever, that means that's Bam and Jimmy Butler against Drew and Middleton. I'm gonna favor Jimmy Butler and Bam. Even though I love Drew, Drew's one of my favorite players. I'm gonna go with Jimmy Butler.
Yep. That's all of a sudden it's gonna really turn into an even series all of a sudden. So you had Middleton stepped up with 33. You had Lopez just gave you 10 points in 36 minutes. You had Drew Holiday had a good floor game, did not have a great shooting game. Grayson Allen was efficient with 12 points. You had Bobby Portis with 21 points, but the only thing he missed was 3-point shots. That's the only thing he missed. Joe Ingles came off the bench and give you 9. The problem was on the defensive side of the ball, and plus the Miami Heat was hot. Mo, if we're gonna assume Giannis don't play on game 2, we're gonna assume that if Giannis plays though, or if he doesn't, what you gonna expect from the Bucks in game 2, the win game 2? Because they need.
Well, I think defensively, they've got to blitz Jimmy Butler. They got to get it out of his hands. The fact that we know Hero's not going to be playing because Hero's the other guy that can create for himself and others. If he's not going to be playing, Jimmy Butler is their premier playmaker. So then you're going to have to force Gabe, Vincent, and Strus to try to create their own shots. That's not their strength. I'm going to live with those guys attacking me. I'm not going to let Jimmy Butler slow walk me into 35 points. Because if you let him play one-on-one, he'll slow walk you into 30, 35 points. Not to mention he's going to get you into foul trouble early because you can book Jimmy buckets for 10 to 11 free throw attempts. Yep. So I say blitz Butler defensively, and on offense, with Giannis out, they've got to spread the floor even more, and they've got to have this is where Drew Holiday's got to give you 25 to maybe 30. Middleton's going to have to give you another 30-point game, and you need a third guy, and that third guy to me has got to be Brook Lopez. Like, they're going to have to get scoring from everywhere, but those 3 players offensively, they've got to be more impactful, and they've got to be more efficient.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we go to the next game, which was a great ball game, physical ball game. But again, we got the Clippers still in game 1, 115 to 110 in this game. Phoenix may be in a little bit of more trouble than everybody think. The problem with Phoenix, you got the starting 5, but after the starting 5, who else you got? They don't have any type of deep bench. They don't have depth at all. So it seemed like if the Suns are going to win this series, the starting 5 is going to play. Is going to have to play a lot in this series. Cameron Payne did drop up out of the rotation. As well. But Phoenix don't have any depth. But on the Clippers side, you got 5 or 6 guys that can start for any team in the NBA. And not to mention, he don't play Robert Covington. But Robert Covington can go on any team and be a rotational piece or start. Norman Powell can go on any team and start. Eric Gordon, we already know he started right now, but he can start on any basketball team. Bones Highland can get rotational minutes anywhere in this league. I think if the Clippers are winning this series, it will be because they have a deeper bench, they have more depth, and they have firepower. But other than that, they made 10 threes. They wasn't good at the 3, but they were better than Phoenix at the 3-point line. They got to the free throw line 29 times. They were aggressive. Both games, Phoenix had more free throws than them, but Clippers made more free throws. They out-rebounded the Phoenix Suns by 7 rebounds. Zubac was a monster on the boards all night. As well. But everybody was getting rebounds. The 50-50 balls came in play. Clippers was getting it all, especially Russell Westbrook was getting every 50-50 ball. They had 15 second chance points, which said, hey, they were out physical on the boards. They were going after every long rebound. 10 turnovers by Phoenix, but the Phoenix Sun, the Clippers capitalized off those points off turnovers as well. 15 points off turnovers. Fast break points was 12. Phoenix had more, but other than that, man, hey, Russell Westbrook did not shoot the ball well, but his defense and impact on the defensive side set a statement for the Phoenix Suns. You know, he was rough from the field. I mean, he was really bad. 3 of 19. But again, his defense impacted the game, especially at the end of the game on that block shot on Devin Booker. Eric Gordon ends up hitting the 3 at the top of the 3 late in the game, giving him 19 points. Kawhi Leonard had a big second half. He was really good last night. And you had Terrence Mann got you 10 off the bench. Plumlee got you 7 off the bench, and you got Norman Powell coming off the bench with 14. So and Nick Batum also contributed off the bench with 3 points, but he also played some great defense as well. Zubac had 15 rebounds as well. So Mo, what you like about the Clippers game 1 victory?
I like their depth. We came into this series talking about their depth before, and you've got multiple guys that can switch in and out defensively, but you've also got multiple guys that can score. They have so many wings that are versatile. I like Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann is kind of in that Josh Hart category. Does a little bit of everything, makes winning plays, play defense, attack the basket, shoot the 3. Like, you need those kind of guys. Love Norman Powell. He didn't even have his best game, but Norman Powell's capable of dropping 30. He's that kind of scorer. I mean, he's a walking bucket. And I love Big Zubac because he knows his role. He stays in his lane. He's a rim runner, great rebounder, especially on the offensive boards, and he stays in his lane. This is about Phoenix Suns' top-heavy firepower versus the Clippers' depth. And how many times have we said, what about Phoenix's bench? And you hear people like, oh, their bench is fine. No, it's not. No, it's not. Even if you switched out one of the guys that was on the Shamet, who only gave you 4 points, with Torrey Craig, who gave you 22. Well, put Torrey Craig's 22 on the bench. They still would have got outscored by the Clippers bench. They don't have a lot of firepower. They're top heavy. All their firepower is in their starting lineup. That's it.
Yep.
And if Chris Paul has a subpar game, which scoring wise he did, he had a great floor game, but they need him to give them at least 15 a game, at least 15, because you're going to rely on Booker and KD to drop 30 or more. You need them to be like in that kind of a zone every night, or you're going to lose. It's plain and simple. You're going to lose. They're not great defensively. They lack depth, period. And you're going to lose when you match up with a team that has the kind of depth. Remember, the Clippers did all that, and I know people said it was a close game. Right. It's a close game, but they're also missing a 23-point score. Paul George didn't play.
Yep.
If Paul George plays, it might not be that close. I think Phoenix is in trouble. They're top heavy. Here's the thing, though. I'll keep it 100. I picked Phoenix to win the series because I thought, even though they're top heavy, the Clippers can be erratic sometimes. Sometimes they can be their own worst enemy if you watch them play. Sometimes, but talent-wise, if all things being even and both teams played their best version of basketball, the Clippers are the scarier team. What I didn't understand about Phoenix is in the last 6 minutes or 7, I think 6 or 7 minutes, KD only took 1 shot. And part of that was good Clipper defense because Kawhi was like, he was hugging that man like he owed him money. Like he was on him. Like they was letting him play a little bit in the fourth quarter. And I've said this before, when you let him play, KD's not quite the same guy because you can mug him. You can mug him. He ain't the strongest, brother. He kind of got that Michael Jackson strength. He's not that strong. I just think that for Phoenix to win, they got to find somebody. Maybe they need to put who's the guy you just said fed out of the rotation, coach? They didn't put him back in.
Cameron Payne.
Yep. Maybe they put him back in, take Chris Paul off the ball. So do something other than what you do. You can't even pin this on Ayton. Ayton wasn't great defensively, but he was solid on the offensive end. He made a lot of little short mid-range shots late in the fourth quarter. I thought the key was, yes, Kawhi Leonard he made monster buckets. It was Russell Westbrook. It was the guy that Coach, you were calling the game, and we were sitting there watching it, and yes, he had a horrible shooting night. But how many times did he deflect the ball? So many deflections. Yep. It was insane, all the deflections. And then he got a couple steals. And the late block of Booker was amazing, but never mind the block. How many big offensive rebounds did he get that led to buckets from his teammates? He rebounded like he's 7'5". Like the way he rebounds, you wish Rudy Gobert and them rebounded. Like he's got that kind of heart. I thought it was a combination of Kawhi and Russell Westbrook down the stretch, the Clippers, they won that game. They earned that win. It's going to be interesting to see how the Suns come out for game 2, because much like the Grizzlies, this is a must-win game. You can't go down 2-0 when the first 2 games are in your home. So I think the Clippers are the Suns will come out with a lot of urgency, but I don't think the Clippers are afraid. I think this series is going to be the best series of the first round.
Yep, and not to mention, you brought up a great point about Paul George. He didn't even play. Only reason Eric Gordon is starting because he's not playing. Just imagine Eric Gordon, if Paul George was healthy, Eric Gordon coming off the bench, that deepens the bench even a little bit more with him coming off the bench. So the only reason he's starting because Paul George is not playing. So I mean, hey, I don't like the Phoenix Suns depth. I don't like the way they play good. I don't like the way they play defense. But then again, not only to mention again, you got Covington that can play on any team in the league. If it wasn't for the Clippers' depth, you got Marcus Morris, who can play on any team in the league.
What about Marcus Morris?
Him as well. When someone goes down, he can step in right away and provide. So the Clippers bench, you talking about the Clippers bench? My goodness, they are deep on that side right there. And again, it looked like Phoenix starting 5 gonna have to play a lot. They gonna have to play a lot. I mean, you saying Shamet can only give you 4 points and he playing 24 minutes. He's not even effective in the game. You have to try to find minutes for Jock Landale as well. Terrence Ross played 4 minutes. He's not even. It's like he's not even playing. He's not even playing. You don't play T.J. Warren. Got Bisman Biyombo giving you really nothing but free throws. But other than that, Phoenix may be in a little bit trouble than what everybody think. I didn't have Phoenix as winning a title anyway. I really had Denver in the title discussion before I had Phoenix. But again, Phoenix, they're gonna have to rely on that starting 5. They're gonna have to rely on that starting 5. Yes, sir.
We agree that the starting 5 is going to have to play more minutes, but won't that wear on them, especially because Paul's 37. I mean, he looked tired late in the minutes that he played yesterday, and you see that their lack of depth. That means that him, Booker, and KD, you're going to have them cats around 38, 40 minutes. That's a lot. That's a lot.
And then Landry Shamet, if you're going to play him over Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet got to be able to step up. Landry Shamet just basically a shooter. He's not a guy that's gonna break down. At least Cameron Payne, yes, you got Landry Shamet more of the shooter, but at least Cameron Payne can get to the paint and break down the defense. At least he can do that. At least he can do some quicks. Yeah, I think for Monty Williams, that was actually a wrong move for not to play Cameron Payne, for him to fall out of the rotation. At least he can get past somebody and run the pick and roll and just really dissect the defense with his ability to shoot the floater inside. But for me, Landry Shamet doesn't cut it like that for me. He's just basically a plain old shooter that you could easily run off screens, and the Clippers got the personnel that can actually take that away from you. So again, we're gonna see what's gonna go down in game 2.
Coach, the Clippers are so deep. Yep. They can loan the Suns some of their bench players and still be a deeper team.
Yep, they could. They got so many great players good players coming off that bench. So again, like I say, if Desmond don't have nothing else with Freddie, he got the Mercer rule that we had last night.
Oh yeah,
and it got ugly in the second half. It got really, really ugly. It seemed like the Timberwolves don't even supposed to be on the same floor the way they played last night. It got bad, man. Y'all talking about it got really, really bad last night. Denver Nuggets. You got Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. You get out rebounded by 16 by the Denver Nuggets. You get punked on the defensive glass. You get punked on the offensive glass. Second chance opportunities. Minnesota has 17 turnovers as well. They could not get any offense going. No ball movement at all. Only 18 assists. It went really bad for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Also, 3-point shooting for the Nuggets. They were on fire. They wasn't on fire, but they had a solid game. 41% from the 3, 16 threes, and we already know Minnesota is not going to shoot that well from the 3-point line. Minnesota got most of their points in the paint pretty much because they only had 80, and you had Denver had about 60 points in the paint. last night. So for the side of the Denver Nuggets, Aaron Gordon had 13. Michael Porter Jr. got hot in the third quarter pretty much with 18 and 11. We had Jokic, didn't have to do too much at all. Had a fishy game, shot 50% from the field, 13, 6 and 14. Jamal Murray had 24 points. Caldwell Pope had 15. And you had Zeke Naji coming off the bench with 5. And you had Bruce Brown, one of my favorite players, coming off the bench with 14. And Christian Braun, the rookie, had 19 minutes, only 3 points. But he's a pest on a defensive glass, so on a defensive side of the ball. So, Mo, what you saw out of Denver last night?
I just saw a team they just kind of dissected Minnesota offensively. I mean, Joker didn't score as much, but he still controlled the game. The ball movement, getting everybody involved, and Denver's shooters were making shots, and they were aggressive going to the basket. What I didn't like, I just didn't like the effort from the Timberwolves. Like, you give them credit for the effort that they gave to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to see coming in. We know the Nuggets are the number 1 seed. We expect the Nuggets to beat the Timberwolves, but it's not because the Timberwolves don't have the talent. You've got 2 bigs. I'm not a big Gobert fan, but does he rebound well? Yes. Can he block shots, protect the rim? Yes. The key is Towns. You have to have Karl Anthony Towns play up to his talent. The same way he was dominant to get into the playoffs. You know where I'm going. There he goes again, disappearing again, coach. He did it again. He like a magician. He just disappeared. I don't, to have that kind of talent and to waste it tells me 2 things. 1, he not a franchise player. 2, on a title contender, he's a second option at best. And maybe that's just his lot in life, or maybe this is switch roles. Anthony Edwards can be a franchise player. He's still learning. He's still young. I think this is part of his learning curve. What I would say to Ant, though, bro, when your jumper's not falling, use that big body. Go to the basket. Like, you're the kind of guy to be shooting 12 to 14 free throws a game just off of your size and athleticism. Like, you got to find different ways to be creative, because when you play those 2 bigs, and I don't understand their thinking. When you play those 2 bigs, you condense the floor. The spacing is jacked up. The driving lanes are clogged because Gobert is a 0 range player, so you know where he's going to be. He's actually clogging up the lanes, hurting his own teammates on offense.
Yep.
You need to stagger their minutes. They don't need to be on the floor at the same time. That does not against a really good team, that will not work. If they're going to play them together a lot of minutes, their season's going to be over in 3 more games.
Yep. I mean, like I say, it's a reason why I call, like, not saying he's a bad player. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a really lot of talent. He's got star level talent, but superstar level talent, no. Karl Anthony Towns is an overrated player, and we've seen it time and time again in big games. He seems to disappear. Like, he got outplayed by Clint Capella in the playoffs, man. This is no secret to why. Yes, he played great against OKC because he needs to play great against a young team that's scratching the surface. And he dominated that game. But again, when it matters, you're in a playoff opportunity, 7-game series, game slows down, teams got time to strategize for you not to show up, and you expect yourself to be a franchise player. And for Anthony Edwards to have to come in the franchise and lead and help you get this team to the playoffs, that's got to be disappointing in Karl Anthony Towns. So Karl Anthony Towns is the reason why I kind of call him overrated. Pretty much, he's not as good as he's not the superstar. Not the superstar that people want to make it out to be. If he don't have the teammates, he didn't have the teammates over the years. You want to say that, then that's fine. But what happened when you had Jimmy Butler, when you have Anthony Edwards, you got a good enough team right now. So again, he can't get the job done when the game is on the line. And right now, this series look like it's gonna be over with really, really quick. The way Minnesota plays on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball. So again, we got some key injuries. If you guys don't know, we got Ja Morant with the key injury. We got Giannis with the key injury. We got Hero with the key injury as well. So What injury will impact more? Which injury will have more of an impact out of Giannis, Tyler Hero and John Morant mode? In your opinion, what player will have most of the impact on the injury side? What team will be more affected by it?
Well, if Giannis can't come back, Milwaukee goes from being a team that's on a mission to go for a title to a team that could get eliminated in the first round like that. He's not just their best player. In my opinion, he's the best player in basketball. It's over. Drew and Middleton and company, they'll do everything they can. But like we said, it evens out now. If it's even, I'm going with Jimmy Butler. If it's even, I'm going with Jimmy Butler. On the other side, John Morant, also the Grizzlies' best player. I will say this. They've got an incredible record minus him. So I think they can still be competitive. But in terms of their ambitions to win a title, that's gone. They're not going to win a title without Ja. Tyler Hero's probably the Heat's third best player. It is a big injury. It does matter. It will impact their team. But I think for this particular series, with Butler and Bam and Strus and Gabe Vincent and them, they can still win this. If Giannis is not going to play, the trade-off, and you don't want anybody hurt, the trade-off, Miami's going to win that series.
Yep, I definitely agree with you. I said it yesterday. I think the injury will impact the Milwaukee Bucks more because all of a sudden they go from a championship contender to a kind of a fringe playoff team. And this, especially with a team like the Miami Heat that has the tendencies to make life a living hell for you on the defensive side and will pretty much be a scary dogfight against any first round team, and especially the 76ers lucky they didn't draw that type of matchup right there at that moment. But again, hey man, if Giannis is not going to be able to play too much or miss even a couple of more games, if he misses a couple of games, hey, this may not look good for Milwaukee. This may not look too good for the Milwaukee Bucks after they come up out of this one, depending on what the series is for the Miami Heat, because these two teams also got history in the bubble run. The Miami Heat end up beating them 4-1 and embarrassing them and making it to the finals against your Los Angeles Lakers before they end up winning.
I remember that series, Coach.
Yep.
I remember that series because Jimmy Butler was the best player in that series too. Yeah. I don't know if people remember this.
He got tired.
Giannis was the MVP. Jimmy Butler gave him that work. I remember when the Bucks they specifically put Giannis on Jimmy Butler to shut him down.
Yep.
And Jimmy Butler told the dude that was coming over, he said, "No, I don't need a screen." He didn't need a screen. Giannis couldn't guard him. Couldn't guard him. Jimmy Butler's a different dude in the playoffs.
Yep, he is. He just is, man. He just that damn dude in the playoffs. And again, he played himself so hard, bro. He went into exhaustion. He had nothing literally left in the finals. That dude literally had nothing left in the NBA finals after that. And he still put up performance.
He impressed me. He impressed me
a lot in that time span right there. So
and the Lakers showed him tons of respect. Remember, at one point they put AD on him. They're like, they were putting everybody on Jimmy Butler in the finals because he was nobody could guard him one-on-one.
Yeah.
Nobody could guard him one-on-one. LeBron didn't want none of that. Nobody could guard him one-on-one. Jimmy Butler, I know they didn't win the finals, but that was a 6-game series because of Jimmy Butler.
Yep. And then we all know year before last, Milwaukee Bucks came with a better fashion. They came with a sweep for their finals run the very next year and actually won it over the Phoenix Suns. The very next year, they lost. The very next year, you know what Miami do? They ends up in the last year, they ends up in the Eastern Conference Finals, not because of Jimmy Butler didn't play well. He played phenomenal. Amazing. And you know what? A lot of people gave him a lot of shit for taking that shot, but the goddamn dude was tired. He didn't want to go into another damn overtime. You can tell how tired he was because the game before the switch into game 7, think about the game that he had. But to put it to game 7, he spent so much energy putting this game into game 7. Tyler Hero had a hamstring. He couldn't even play. They tried to put him out there on the court. The man couldn't even really play. He shouldn't have been out there on the court anyway. You had really no other guy step up besides Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was the reason Miami was in that Eastern Conference Finals last year.
When he took that shot, I was like this. it's going in. I thought it was going
I
in.
thought it was
When he
too.
took that
I
shot,
thought
I was with Jimmy. I was like,
Hey.
you don't want to go. I don't want you to go to overtime. I was
I
like,
don't want to either. Hey, he tried to win the game because he was tired. He was really tired. He gave it all he could. He gave it all he had.
he did.
To try to win that series. He spent so much effort getting into it. Actually, they down. They lost game 5. They won game. They lost game. Believe they lost. They won game 5. They lost game 6. They lost game 5. Then they had to play at Boston in a game 6, and he carried them. And he spent all the energy on that just to try to make it a game 7. So again, Jimmy Butler is a superstar, turned into a nightmare in the playoffs. He's a whole different type of guy. And you talking about upping your game up another level and stepping the game up. Forget the regular season. He's an all-star. He's an all-star player, an all-defensive player. But in the playoffs, the man is generational in all world in the playoffs. He turns into that type. So you talking about he has no problem stepping up and when you need him the most. If they even lose this series, I guarantee you Jimmy Butler won't be the reason why. Probably the reason why they lose the series. It'll because someone else didn't step up. So which series will be the best? What series is the best series so far to you, in your opinion?
As a basketball fan, and obviously I'm a Laker fan, I wanted it to be Memphis, the Lakers, but obviously with John Morant's health hinging, I'm going to turn to Phoenix and the Clippers. That seemed like that could have all the drama because the winner or loser of that series, there's so many ramifications because you're talking about teams and stars that are trying to either add to or achieve a certain success on their legacy. If the Suns lose, this notion that people keep saying like, well, they got like a 2 or 3 year window. Like, why would they have a 2 or 3 year window when Paul and KD will be a year older? They'll be that much older. Are you going to add something to that bench? Because you're not going to win playing just 5 guys. You're not going to win. You're not winning anything playing 5 guys. And on the Clippers side, even though Paul George is out, if the Clippers come up short, if you're Steve Ballmer and the front office, you got to think maybe it's time. I've had Paul George and Kawhi together for a while. It might be time to move off from one of those guys. Now, if I make that decision, I'm telling you right now, the guy I'm not moving off of, I don't care what anybody say about low management or whatever, I'm not trading Kawhi Leonard. If I got to move anybody, I'll move PG if I can upgrade the talent around Kawhi. But I think this series, that's how big this series is. There's going to be major shifts and changes for both teams. Look, they say Monty Williams is on the hot seat. So I think this series matters to Monty Williams as well. And he's a good coach, but you know how it goes. If you lose, they don't move stars that quick. They move coaches. That's just the hard reality. So you know, I hope Monty's renting to own. So so he's able to leave when he needs to. No, seriously, I think this is going to be the best series of the first round. I was trying to think. You know what? I'll throw a wild card out there. Cavs Knicks could be the other. That could be the other series that could go 7 games. So I'll say Cavs Knicks in the East and Clippers Suns in the West.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Kings and the Golden State Warriors. Yes, I think that's potential. The way we saw. We know both teams don't play no defense at all. We know they don't play no defense. That could be a crazy track meet, but a close track meet, not a blowout track meet, a close track meet. Who is going to come down? Who can get the most stops in the series? So I believe that series could be more. That series could have the potential to be the best series, as far as scoring, high paced, as far as everything you need.
That's a good one, Coach. That might be a series where both teams could have multiple 30-point scorers. You know what I mean? Maybe even a couple of 40-point scorers.
Yep, you ain't lying about that one. And that right now, that series is off to a damn good start right now. We get some high action, high entertainment, not entertainment, but basketball, man, scoring basketball. I like the defensive games too, though. But anytime, people, you want to go up and down the floor. Every time you want to go up and down the floor, you want to score. You want to shot for shot, great 3-point shooting. You're gonna see it in that series right there. And it's a big game too tonight for the Sacramento Kings as well, for the Golden State Warriors as well. So we had a little bit of discussions tonight. when they saw the replay of Russell Westbrook, they thought, he kind of hit Devin Booker on the hand. I saw him hit the ball first. He kind of get the ball first. And at the end of the day, if I'm the referee, I'm not calling that foul. I'm not calling that call. So, the question to you, Mo, was that a clear block, or did Russell Westbrook foul Devin Booker?
I would say it's clear enough to me to where I wouldn't make that call.
Yep.
And look, while Devin Booker is crying for the foul in the middle of the play, Russ is hitting the ball off his legs. Russ is still playing. Booker quit because he was too busy whining for a call. You don't make that call. I'm sorry. And it's not like it was clear cut. It was if they went and reviewed that over and over and over, that wasn't so clear cut. I've seen more contact than the other calls that were non-calls. So I'm not calling that. There's no controversy. It's controversy if you're Suns fans and you want to cry about it, but there's no controversy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not calling that. I don't think that wasn't too much right there. It wasn't too much right there. Don't call it. Don't let the game be determined about that part right there. So
hey, they let Chris Paul get away with like 3 Russian sickles early in the game. They didn't call nothing on him. Like if you can do that, I mean, you're not calling that. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I think it was a block. It was a good block. Yes, his hand made it hit after the block, but come on, man. His hand, they hand just tapped a little bit. If
right.
Anything. It wasn't just everywhere you can hear it, where you can just hear it now. It wasn't like that. So Russell Westbrook made a great play, made a block, a hell of a block right there. And plus, you come on, you're Devin Booker, you're gonna want that call, and do anything it takes to save the game. But come on, that's not it right there. That's not. So is Rui Hachimura up for the challenge? The way he looked in game 1, he looked like he was up for the challenge. But is he up for the challenge next game, Mo? That's the key in the series.
So, Rui's a good player. But if I'm saying what I expect of him, he's the kind of guy that can give you on a regular basis maybe 14 points, 6 or 7 rebounds. I think Rui can play well. But if you expect him to drop another 28, I don't think that's likely to happen. But I'll say this, if he's left open, if they're going to rotate over from LeBron or AD, he is capable of making open shots. And if you told me going into the game that the Lakers were going to shoot over 40% from 3, I would have told you already who was going to win. The Lakers are not really a great 3-point shooting team. They've become a very good defensive team, but if they're going to get 3-point shooting from Hachimura, from Austin Reeves, D'Lo, then they're going to be a problem for the Grizzlies.
Definitely agree with you on that. Agree with you up on that. He's going to be a key to the series, regardless if he scores 28. If he even gets you double digits, that's being a key player to the series. Sure. That's good enough to get you around. So last topic of the day, the way Minnesota look, will they get their ass handed to them and get swept the way they looked last night?
If you're going off of the effort I saw, yeah, they're going to get swept. But I expect I don't know them. But I'm going to say as a professional, as a competitor, they're going to come out and play better than that. And that's my whole thing with Towns. You can lose. That's going to happen. You can lose, but sometimes it's how you lose. Did you compete? Or did at some point in the game you just gave in to, we're losing and I'm done? And with Karl-Anthony Towns, too many times you've seen the body language and you was like, you can tell he's done. He's finished. He has, for all that talent, he's got some quit in him. I expect them to play better. I think there will be a couple of close games in this series. I don't know if the Timberwolves win those close games, though. Who do you go to late? Because if you got to rely on Towns, I just can't trust him. I think the guy I trust the most is the youngest guy on the team, and that's Ant. And Ant is still in a learning process himself. So if you're asking me, do they get back in the series? I wouldn't bet on it.
Definitely. The way they played last night, they look like they're gonna get swept. The way they're playing, they have the players that can compete with this team. But at the end of the day, hey, doesn't look good for them. So we ran out of time in this early morning show. No, we kind of started late, but trust me, we got some good NBA back. We got some good basketball coming up tonight. We got the Sixers. And we got the Brooklyn Nets game 2 in Sacramento and Golden State game 2. Y'all don't want to miss that. So, Mo, tell the people they can follow you at.
Sports Empire Network, and I'll drop another episode of the NBA Cypher on Wednesday. Let's go.
Let's do it. Y'all can find me everywhere. No introduction. Y'all can find me with the doubleheader tonight. The Sacramento Kings, especially the late night game, and y'all can find me on when I'm doing the Sixers and the Brooklyn Nets game. So as for Coach Dante, as for Mo, we will see you guys later tonight in the playoff games. Peace out, you guys.
Peace.